Two popular dividend ETFs are VYM, the Vanguard High Dividend-Yield ETF, and HDV, the iShares Core High Dividend ETF. They differ more than you may realize. Let's compare them. First, note that I don't chase dividends, but I recognize that many investors use dividends to supplement their current income, particularly in retirement. Others just irrationally prefer dividend-paying stocks. I even designed a dividend-focused portfolio for income investors. In any case, these two funds are very popular and take a somewhat different approach. Here we'll review these dividend ETFs and explore the differences between them. VYM is the Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF. It launched in 2006. VYM seeks to track the FTSE High Dividend Yield Index. Its selection methodology is not super simple, but not complex. VYM looks for US stocks that have paid a dividend for at least the last 12 months, ranks them by forecasted dividend yield for the next 12 months, excludes REITs, selects the top 50%, and then weights them by market cap. VYM is certainly focused on yield, but its market cap weighting scheme keeps its 450 or so holdings well diversified across sectors. HDV launched in 2011. It is the iShares Core High Dividend ETF. Its index is the Morningstar Dividend Yield Focus Index. As the name suggests, HDV looks for high-yielding stocks, but it tries to make sure that yield is sustainable by employing some Morningstar earnings screens in its selection process. This process makes it a bit more complex than VYM. First, firms must have a moat that gives them a competitive advantage. Then ratios like debt to equity are analyzed to try to identify firms with strong profitability and cash flow. REITs are excluded here too. What sets HDV apart arguably the most from VYM is the fact that it then takes the 75 highest yielding stocks and weights them from greatest to least dividend dollar amount, not yield per se. VYM and HDV have an overlap by weight of about 40%. This is illustrated more clearly in the very different sector compositions of these two funds that we'll look at here in a sec. VYM could be considered more diversified than HDV, both in terms of number of holdings and sector exposure. In terms of factors, both funds have positive loadings on value, profitability, and investment, but HDVs are considerably higher for those last two thanks to its profitability screens. Both funds also tilt large with negative loadings on size, and HDV tilts slightly larger than VYM. While VYM and HDV both have significant assets, VYM is much more popular than HDV by about $30 billion. VYM is also slightly cheaper at 6 basis points compared to 8 basis points for HDV. Traders may appreciate the smaller spread of VYM at 0.01% compared to 0.02% for HDV. At the time of this video, HDV has a slightly higher yield by about 0.1% at 3.15%. Now let's check out the sector breakdown of VYM and HDV. Notice how VYM massively overweights financials, while HDV massively overweights healthcare and energy stocks and has negligible exposure to materials and consumer discretionary stocks. Here's a performance backtest of VYM and HDV going back to HDV's inception in 2011 and looking through 2021. During that time, VYM has beaten HDV on both a general and risk-adjusted basis with lower volatility and a smaller max drawdown. In conclusion, HDV's basket of only 75 stocks and negligible weightings to several sectors make it a bit too under-diversified for my tastes. It would certainly not be suitable as a core holding for a well-diversified portfolio, particularly if you want any exposure to REITs, small caps, mid caps, or international stocks. Choosing between these two, going with VYM also gets you greater liquidity and saves you some on fees. Conveniently, both VYM and HDV should be available at any major broker. Do you own either of these dividend funds in your portfolio? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Some of the links below are referral links at no additional cost to you. If you choose to make a purchase or sign up for a service, after clicking through those links, I may receive a small commission. This allows me to continue producing high quality content on this channel and pays for the occasional cup of coffee. I have first-hand experience with every product or service I recommend, and I recommend them because I genuinely believe they are useful.